You just need to show up. Like, that's it. There's no, well, how do you show up when you're tired? You show up. How do you show up when you don't feel like it? You show up. How do you show up when you're not feeling motivated or inspired? You show up. We don't decide whether or not we're going to show up based on how we feel. We show up and we change how we feel. Mood follows action. Remember that. Dude, let me tell you something. Having a bright, beautiful, sunny day in the middle of January where I live, unheard of. Wonderful stuff. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video on the channel. I truly hope that you are doing well. I can tell you that I'm doing really well. I'm doing quite exceptionally, actually. I've been in a really good flow with my life and with my training, physical training, with writing, with work. I've been on a couple new kicks that have helped that feeling, I think, kind of take root within me. Some new behavioral things that I'm doing, like taking cold showers, which has really changed a lot of my life. It's improved my life in a significant way. Also cutting out caffeine at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, just so that I could get kind of like better quality sleep. Yeah, so I guess I've recently introduced a few new behavioral protocols that have assisted with the fact that I've been doing really well and I've been in a good momentum. But I think the reason ultimately that I'm doing exceptionally well right now is because I am doing things that matter to me and I'm learning how to show up for myself. In light of the fact that it is January, it is a new year, this is the time when people start to set New Year's resolutions, goals, habits, things that they want to instill or start doing in the next calendar year. And in that vein, it kind of got me thinking about that concept and how so many people fail to stay consistent or to follow through on the goals that they set. It also kind of came in alignment or grouping with the fact that I've been feeling really good. And I think part of the reason, a big part of the reason that I've been feeling so good recently is not the actual behavioral protocols themselves. It's the fact that I'm just showing up for myself and I'm getting these things done. And so I think I'm going to title this video, The Reason Why You Can't Show Up for Yourself or Why You Keep Letting Yourself Down. And it comes back to a 3-prong framework for how we get things done, how we achieve or accomplish the things that we set out to or claim that we want, how we become the kind of person who's capable of accomplishing those things. I was actually listening to a podcast, the Bare Performance Podcast. It's started by this guy, Nick Bare, who's the founder of a supplement company that I use called Bare Performance Nutrition. He was talking about how to become the kind of person who gets after these things and to prove yourself right, to be able to show up for yourself and set whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, however hard or big or special that goal is to you, how you can actually go about becoming the kind of person who's going to get it done. And when he said these 3 things, a light bulb went off in my head because it finally made sense. I was like, this is why I've been doing so good, because I've hit all 3 of these buckets in my personal life right now with the goals that I've set out for myself, and I want to share them with you. There's 3 things that you need in order to stay true to what you've set out to accomplish, to actually pursue and be successful in capturing that goal. And they are obsession, consistency, and discipline. Let's start with obsession. Obsession is something that can be hard because you can't force it. You know what I mean? If you say that you want to accomplish something, you can't really force yourself to inject passion or interest into that goal. You need to find something that you're so intensely passionate about that it just breeds obsession naturally. If you set a goal to lose weight, you really gotta be fixated on that goal. You can't be the kind of person who's constantly going to go out to eat and get the slice of cheesecake for dessert and eat like garbage if you know that that's not what your meal plan is. You know what I mean? When you have obsession and when you have a goal that you cannot let go, because it matters so much to you that even if you're not in the context where you're actively doing that work or avoiding that work. You're just on a walk and you're like, God, this would be so much easier if I was 10 pounds lighter or whatever it is. Or, in the case of writing my book, like I'm recording this podcast and I'm fully present to recording this video right now, but I'm still thinking like I haven't written today. And so when I'm on a walk, I'm thinking about what I'm going to write. When I'm at the gym, I'm thinking about what I'm going to write. I'm obsessed about accomplishing that goal. You can't really force that, which makes it a little bit hard, but it's also the easiest of the three in this framework because it just happens. You know what I mean? So it's challenging because you can't just seek after it and find it. I think in many ways, the universe will meet you halfway and you'll find the things that you obsess over by putting yourself out there and trialing and erroring, but it's not necessarily a smooth, effortless process to find the thing that you can obsess over. But at the end of the day, once you find it, it clicks. You just kind of get in that rhythm. It's the same thing like I was telling you about writing my book. You know what I mean? I think even before I started writing this memoir, I knew conceptually that I wanted to do it, but nothing ever felt like it was the right time. And I've been making these YouTube videos for almost 3 years now. And I'm like, I don't want to do my day job forever. I don't know what it is. A lot of strong and passionate interests in my life with training, with writing, with all of this other kind of fun stuff, with wanting to help people through the content that I create, but no true, unwavering, singular, focused obsessions until it happened, right? It came upon me. I put myself out there and the universe met me halfway. And so if you are setting out a goal that you want to accomplish, you better not be trying to convince yourself that you want to accomplish it because you can't lie to yourself. If you tell yourself you want to be healthier and you're lying to yourself because you're not actually going to put in the work or you don't really want it badly enough to do the work, you're not obsessed. And it's not going to be easy for you. You're constantly going to feel like you are pushing a boulder up a mountain. Doesn't mean that it's not going to get done, but it might not be easy. And it might not be fun. When you find something that you obsess over and you literally cannot let go, you are probably not going to be the kind of person who's going to give up on the goal. And so be really honest with yourself about whatever it is that you're after. If you've already set a goal and you're getting after it, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Make sure that it is in your heart of hearts the thing that you feel like you're meant to be doing. Because if it's not, and you're not obsessed, it's going to be a lot harder for you to stay disciplined and to get there and to get it done. So just be very mindful of the obsession piece. All right, prong number 2. Consistency. Consistency compounds. If you do something over and over again, even if it is the smallest effort on a daily scale or a weekly scale, if you continuously show up and you do the little things right every single day, all of those efforts, no matter how small they are, will compound. And then they get bigger and bigger and bigger. They literally magnify as time passes. So let's go back to the weight loss goal example for a second. If you are passionate, you're committed, you are obsessed with getting this thing done. You want to lose some weight, right? Maybe you want to lose 20 pounds and you're targeting a pound a week every single week, right? So you're in a 20-week weight loss cut, prep, whatever you want to call it. Well, every single day, the scale's probably not going to change that much. Every single week, you're losing a pound, right? A pound might not seem like that much in the pursuit of this goal, this 20 pounds, right? Like 1 pound, maybe 1 week you are only down 0.7 or 0.8 or 0.5. Maybe you're only going to see the scale move down 0.1 pound, 0.2 pound, 0.3 pound. Maybe one day you're up a pound because these things are not linear. Progress is not linear. But the point is that on the daily, on the weekly, even in some cases on the monthly, when we set these goals, the effort can seem small and its smallness can make it feel meaningless or like it's not enough or like it's not going to get us there. But if you continue to show up every day and do the work and do whatever it takes to get there on a daily basis, you continue with that protocol, that consistency will compound. 1 pound will turn to 2, will turn to 3, will turn to 4, will turn to 5, will turn to 10, and eventually you'll be there because consistency compounds. It stacks on top of each other. Every time you get a win, it stacks on your last win. It's not for nothing, but you have to do the work consistently, frequently. You have to continue to show up. You have to be consistent in order to get there. And that's the other reason why I feel like I've been in a really good rhythm and a really good flow recently, because I've been very consistent with my behavioral protocols and the work, and I've taken that obsession and I've learned to kind of like map out the steps that I need to take on a daily basis. How much do I want to write? What does my schedule look like to make writing more effortless for me? When am I going to write during the week when I have to go to work? When am I going to write on the weekend when I have more time, but also more things that I need to get done? When am I going to make it work? I've been extremely consistent in being able to show up for myself and get it done, to get that work done around that obsession so that it can actually happen for me. I have been sleeping at 10 p.m. every night. I cut the caffeine at 2 p.m. so my sleep quality is better. I wake up at 5 a.m. every morning. I take a cold shower. I get to the gym. I come home. I go to work. I eat my meals at the same time. I take my little cognitive support supplement to help me write when I get to the end of the day and I'm just tired and beat down, and I have my life protocoled out. And maybe that's not how you work. Maybe that's not conducive to how you best show up for yourself. I'm not saying that you need to be that regimented with anything at all. But for me, I figured out that I'm going to be able to compound my consistency and my effort, my work product on this book, if I make everything else in my life bend to that ultimate goal, that ultimate obsession. And I do that by making my sleep consistent so I have good energy. And I do that by eating the same things at the similar times during the day so my energy balance stays consistent. And I've noticed that as I've packed on the days and the weeks and the months, now I open that Google Doc at the end of the day when I go to start writing, and I watch all of the pages flitter down, and it's gone from 20 to 40 to 60 to now it's at 86. 86 8.5 by 11 inch pages of paper of my memoir. And honestly, I'm like, maybe that's like 10 or 15% of the raw material that I want to get to, but I'm watching it stack in front of me. And watching it stack, the more time and effort you put into it, it kind of gives you this positive feedback, because I sit down and I'm like, I can't let that girl down. I can't believe I've done this for 4 months, for 5 months, and I have barely missed a day. That makes you feel good. But I'm not going to get this book done unless I keep writing, and I need to keep writing every day, frequently, in order to get there. Consistency compounds. Remember that. So consistency is extraordinarily important. But that brings into the next question, which is a fair and valid question, which is, what happens when you're tired? What happens when you don't feel like it? What happens when your energy is low, or you're not feeling motivated or inspired around that goal? Maybe you're still obsessed with it, but we're human beings, right? We're not going to be machines all the time, perfectly chugging away and feeling exceptional all the time. So what happens when you're down or you don't feel like doing the work? And it's a tough lesson, and it maybe sucks to hear, or maybe you think that there's a workaround, but the truth is there's no workaround to doing the work. Doing the work is the shortcut. Consistently showing up is the shortcut. It's the fastest way to get to your goal. And so when motivation wanes, or you're tired, or you don't feel like doing it, or things pop up, you need to make all of those feelings irrelevant. You need to be disciplined. Discipline equals freedom. That's what Jocko Willink says. You just need to show up. Like, that's it. There's no, well, how do you show up when you're tired? You show up. How do you show up when you don't feel like it? You show up. How do you show up when you're not feeling motivated or inspired? You show up. We don't decide whether or not we're going to show up based on how we feel. We show up and we change how we feel. Mood follows action. Remember that. It's maybe a little counterintuitive, but what I'll also tell you from my own experience is that the more rigidly disciplined you are, the easier it is. Let me explain what I mean by that, because if you're the kind of person who's like, I want to wake up at 5 a.m. and you set a 5 a.m. alarm and you let yourself let the doubt or the fatigue or the self-questioning, that ego kind of rise up and be like, you don't want to do that. You just want to sleep in. If you let doubt creep in and you let yourself be flexible, it's going to be a lot harder to get yourself out of bed, because now not only are you tired, you're questioning yourself and you're doubting yourself and you're wondering if you can do this. When you give yourself the room to create or make excuses, it becomes a lot harder to be disciplined. But if you can train yourself to realize that it doesn't matter how I feel, I'm going to show up anyway, and you start to actually internalize that and truthfully believe that, then you're not going to wake up and let doubt creep in. Doubt's not allowed to creep in into that person's brain. You're just going to get out of bed. It's the same thing with me with cold showers sometimes. And honestly, any of my behavioral protocols that I've set, even writing, I've now become the kind of person, when I'm uninspired, when I'm tired, when I'm drained, when I'm not feeling motivated, when I don't feel like doing it, I don't entertain those feelings or those thoughts. Because if I entertain them, they're so insidious. They're like whispers of smoke. They'll just slowly trickle into your life, and then you'll just get pulled down and be like, yeah, let's just watch Netflix today. Let's not do anything. When you become the kind of person who doesn't even let those into the equation, then the equation is just as simple as doing the work or not. It becomes a binary. And when you make it binary, this is why it sounds counterintuitive, because you would think, oh, rigidity, that's going to make it harder. But when you become the kind of person who's binary, who's like, I'm doing it or I'm not doing it, it makes it a lot easier to just choose doing it. Because the gap between being a winner in that instance and a loser feels really wide. But when you start to let yourself have excuses and you're kind of in that weird limbo-y gray area, well, it's going to be a lot harder. And so you have to just stay disciplined. And the more that you practice that, right, it all kind of adds together. The more that you show up, right, consistency compounds, but it also becomes almost this, not self-propelling engine, but it becomes easier. You get into a flow where you're winning and you're stacking these daily wins. You see not just yourself moving toward the goal that you set in that obsession, but you're now seeing that you're the kind of person internally. You start to say, like, the dialogue starts to shift and you start to say, I am the kind of person who's going to set a goal and get after it. And that's its own win. Becoming the kind of person where you know that if you have a want or a desire, you are going to satisfy it, makes your internal landscape a lot calmer. Because when you go out now and you're like, I want to lose 5 pounds, or you say, I want to show up and commit to being a better father, or commit to calling my grandparents once a week, you know that your commitments matter because you actually follow through on them. Becoming the kind of person who can follow through will make you stand on your desires a lot more strongly and with a lot more certainty. That foundation starts to get palpably stronger. And so that's the framework. Find an obsession. You have one life. And it is honestly a shame to not wake up every day and feel obsessed about living that life. I get it. That wanes too. Our motivation, our interest in what we're doing, struggles pop up. Life's not going to be easy, but you should still want to wake up and live it every day. You should still want to be obsessed about your life and be happy. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to feel that way about your life. So if you haven't found that obsession yet, get after it. Get out in the world. Go try new things. Go experiment. Try new things for dinner tonight. Like, I don't know. Just get crazy with it. Go have fun. Have fun. Experiment with life. Design it. Figure it out. But if you have found that obsession, hats off to you, brother. Consistently show up now. Do the work. Forward think, backward plan. Know what you need to get, where you want to go, and backwards plan your way to where do I have to go from, if I want to get here in 6 months, where do I have to be at 3 months, where do I have to be 2 months from now, where do I have to be today, and how do I get there forward? Consistently show up. That consistency will compound. Those wins will start stacking. And don't let doubt or fear or lack of inspiration or lack of energy or lack of motivation bleed out the total life energy that you have toward that goal. Stay, pursue, unrelentingly. Be relentless. You deserve to get whatever you want, but you gotta want it bad enough to do the work. And there's no shortcut to doing the work. Doing the work is the shortcut. So, with that being said, I'm going to wrap up the video here. Thank you so much for being here with me. I love you. Good luck with those New Year's resolutions or anything else that you're pursuing at this point in time. And if you need somebody there to bounce ideas off of, you know where to find me. See you next week.